Hello people of YouTube, my name is Brad, this is my channel Animate Orange, and welcome to another Metal Earth Premium Series build video. That's long. I can't say iconics, I mean I could say iconics, but people who haven't been with Metal Earth, doing Metal Earth models for a while won't know what iconics means anymore because now they call them Premium Series. Today we're going to talk about the premium version of the Space Shuttle Launch Kit. See, that pause there was me doubting myself and thinking I got the name wrong. I have built the Space Shuttle Launch Kit, and I have been working on the video for today. I'm going to bring you part one. Yes, it's a two-part video. Today we're going to talk about part one of this build. It's a fantastic looking model. I get asked the question from time to time, what is my favorite model? And this one is moving up the list, up to the top. It's hard for me to pick a favorite, but this one's going to be in the top because I just love this. I can't tell you how much I just love this. That's going to need some touching up, but I don't know. I've always thought the Space Shuttle was really amazing. I'm a child of the 70s, grew up in the 80s, teenager in the 90s. This has been part of culture more or less for most of my life. And yeah, I just love this. But we're not going to talk too much about the shuttle. We're going to talk about building it. So let's get started, since this is a long build video, and go over to the table, open it up, see what's inside, and start putting it together. Alright, I'm excited for this one. Oddly excited, I feel. But here we go. Let's see what's inside. Feels kind of thick, not too terribly thick. Oh. I mean, all the pictures make this thing look pretty freaking big, but maybe slightly overstated. Here we got one sheet. That's got to be the bottom of the shuttle. This must be the main fuel tank. So yeah, not quite as big as the pictures often make it look, but I'll take it. We got another sheet. I think there's 3 sheets here. Flipped over, detailed side is laying on this nice piece of paper. It's slightly stuck. Uh-oh. Oh dear. I hope that's not a bad sign. Kind of smell the paint a little bit. Did they stick that on there before it was dry? Seems to be okay. Let's put that to the side. Alright, let's see what we got in here. We got 1 piece of paper, 2 pieces of paper for the instructions. I'm going to do what I usually do and try to go over the instructions fairly briefly for anybody out there that's new to or doing their first model. This is all the way open. We're going to fold it back closed a little bit so we can focus on page 1. For the first page, Metal Earth logo, it's a QR code and a website. Basically, use this information to get to a 360 view of the completed model. I haven't checked to see if that's up yet or not, because sometimes these models will come out and the 360 view is not ready. But the 360 view, if it's there, is helpful for seeing how the finished model is supposed to look for confusing areas. Got a legend down here, which is getting bigger as time goes on. You see the E pointing at something, and here's a sample down here. It's pointing at the engraved or colored side of the part, so you know which way to orient it, to hold it when you're folding and shaping. NE is non-engraved or non-colored side. Sometimes it's not just the side though, sometimes it's a section. Like this part will have engraving here but not here, and that can get a little confusing. Tension point, when you see this, it's usually an alignment issue. It's like, make sure that this tab is sticking off this way before you put the 2 parts together and not sticking down. Sometimes, and I've not seen it often, there's actually some sort of wording to tell you what you should be paying attention to, but usually it's an alignment issue. Make sure you align things a certain way. Blue circle, green triangle, they've been in these instructions forever. Blue circle next to a connection point means to insert the tab and fold it 90 degrees. Green triangle means to insert the tab and twist it. I don't see a green triangle down here, but the folded tabs are cleaner looking, not always as secure. The twisted tabs are more secure and usually on the inside of parts unless there's not enough room. And then a bit about tools over here. We're going to talk about tools shortly. And here's a sample part, almost skipped over, with a notation on slots, fold lines, and tabs. Tabs ultimately go into slots. That's how things connect together and hold together. Fold lines are basically pre-scored areas where a part bends and folds. Try not to get fold lines confused with the engraving detail. In some models that's easy to do. But below that, this being a premium series model, they're separated up into steps, whereas the Metal Earth regular series are not usually separated in steps. You got step 1, starting with part 1, which is on sheet B. We don't have the sheets on here. That's actually on this page over here. So if we were to open this back up, actually this is kind of page 1 and this is page 2. But yeah, we have an outline of the 3 sheets. They're labeled as sheet A, B, and C. I'm going to just grab the sheet off top and figure out which one it is. Let's see, this appears to be, here we go, this is sheet A. Try to fit it all in screen so you can kind of see this is an outline of these parts. The coloring is not the same. I'll explain why. First of all, sheet A, all the parts are numbered so you can find the parts easily and clip things out. Now the reason stuff is colored differently, basically the colors do not necessarily match up with the colors on the metal sheet. The colors in here indicate the same part. So as we can see here, part 6 is this kind of dark purplish color here. There's 3 of them in a row. All 3 of these dark purplish parts are part 6. And I don't see 6 anywhere else, but sometimes those parts are spread across multiple metal sheets. But this makes it easier to identify the same parts because you get a lot of symmetric identical parts in these builds. This makes that a lot easier to find those symmetrical parts. We got this olive green color here. These are the same part 31. It's black right here, 2 part 30s. Got a blue 27 over here. I don't really see any. Oh, here we go. Here's one that's an example of being on multiple sheets. It's not labeled here. We also see it here. Part 6 here, 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 and up here. And they're all the same part. It also cuts down on the amount of numbers along the outside of the drawing here and just simplifies things. I love that they do that. And of course we have a sheet B and a sheet C. They're all stacked over here. I'm not going to drag them all out. When we go back here, step 1, we're calling part 1, which is on sheet B, so you know which sheet to look for it on. Clip that part out. That's what it looks like. And then you want to fold it and curve this top part similar to what the arrows are showing, and you know which way to kind of bend it back because you can tell which side the engraved side is facing. And then here is more bending, and then the tabs connect and fold over, you end up with that part. Pretty simple and straightforward. That repeats. We got step 2, part 2, off of sheet A. Here's the part. Here we can see some tabs are folding up. Here we can see part 3 on sheet A and 4 on sheet A are added in. 3 is colored in, so there's going to be another 3 somewhere down the line. Those parts are added onto those tabs we folded up. Tabs are folded over, we can tell by the blue circles. And then we shape this entire part into this shape. And what's going to happen now is we're going to have to flip over and go to the next part and finish shaping. We've called back step 1 here. It connects through these folded in tabs. There's more parts. There's part 5 off of sheet B. That comes here, shapes like that, adds 2. There's another part 5 off of sheet B, goes on that side. Here's a little note for texts. 4 texts can be chosen for B, so I think that's a nameplate. So neat. We can choose which shuttle we're going to go with. And yeah, just there's the finished part. We got step 3. That's it. I mean, you just basically follow through, adding in the parts, shaping them as indicated. Sometimes steps are called back later, and you build it in pieces, and pieces come together, and it's just, once you get done with the page, you go to the next page, just follow the steps, and then once you get done with step 10, you're going to grab the next sheet, open it up, find step 11, go on from there, and once you get to the end, you'll be done with your model. Let's take a moment to talk about tools. You're going to want some basic tweezers and or pliers to help bend and shape and manipulate the pieces of this model. And I've got a variety of things here that I use. Some precision tweezers, some more basic tweezers with different angles on the end, and I've got long nose pliers and flat nose pliers. I use the variety of these in my build. pick up whatever tweezers or pliers you see fit. Maybe you have some around the house, maybe head to your local Harbor Freight, or look for something on eBay or online. Another basic accessory I feel that you're going to need is some sort of flush or side clippers to clip the parts out of the sheet. You can bend and twist them out, but you have a high risk of damaging parts. I've had a variety of different clippers. These are the ones I'm using right now. They're Play-Doh. You can even use nail clippers from the store. They have some that cut at an angle. You can find clippers in all kinds of hardware stores or jewelry stores. Just find something to help you clip the parts out cleanly. Tweezers and pliers are going to get you so far, but there are a lot of curved and cone shapes in these builds, and there's a variety of things that you can use, and I've used a variety of things. You can find dowel rods at your local hardware store. You can find step mandrels at any jewelry shop or hobby shop. You can take dowel rods and sharpen them with a pencil sharpener to get cone shapes. I've even used marbles and beads to make rounded or dome shapes. I've gone so far as to even 3D print some of my own tools to help me with shaping. And if you're interested in these, see my description for my Etsy store, but you can find things around the house to help shape parts. I've used cheap drill bit sets, I've used medicine bottles, I've used glue sticks, I've used pens, pencils, I've heard of people using spoons. Just find whatever you can to help shape these things, or go out and look at jewelry stores or craft stores for specialty tools to help you shape things. Alright, we've talked a little bit about tools. I've got my basics to get me started, my Such a Tweeze tweezers that I've grown rather fond of, my metal sheets over here. I need to organize things a little bit so I can see all the sheets, and we'll get started with this build. Whoops, bent the tabs the wrong way there. I did my best to shape this large section of the body by hand based on the lines underneath. I wanted to twist the tabs holding on the nose, but the lack of space did not make that all that practical. Folding the front window piece down and attaching it is already a challenge, and I tried to make it a bigger one at first by attempting to put the tabs in the wrong slot. There are 2 different slots there. Be careful that you are trying to put those tabs in the correct slot. I decided to go with Discovery for the name of my shuttle, no particular reason. You want to just curve or tilt these bits in a little. These bits around the circle bend up. I had a difficult time getting part 12 into place. I honestly don't use the yellow cone shaping tool that much, but it is good when it's useful. I spent a little time trying to slightly bend and modify the shape of this part as it should be. As it turns out, I put these two parts on in the wrong order. The back panel should have been added first. I had to bend up the bottom back part of the upper thruster thing to get it on and had a hard time bending that section back to where it should be. I really didn't shape the wing, I just sort of let the tabs and slots guide how to curve it, but in the end, I wish I had also added a curve down along the outer edge of those wings and away from the body of the ship. You'll see more about that towards the end of the build. I tried to use the handle of a pair of tweezers to bend part 26, but the part was thin and that just was not working. Had to do it one little bend at a time. Bending up sides on this part like this always warps the part a bit, and there is a need to straighten things out. I initially twisted the tabs holding on parts 26 and 27, but then went back and folded them over so I can use a tool on the inside to further shape this thruster. And that brings us to the end of part 1. We haven't finished the model. It was kind of an odd cut because I'm trying to keep the two halves fairly even, though the build portion of part 1 is a little shorter than the build portion of part 2, and that mainly is to accommodate the fact that I spend several minutes going over the instructions, introducing myself, so on and so forth, talking about tools. I would love to have cut it to where I finished this shuttle part or most of it, and then part 2 was the thrusters and the tank, but it's not how it worked out. But we're going to pick up where we left off in part 2, finishing the one thruster we were working on, building the other, which is pretty much a mirror, doing the tank, doing the body, of course putting it all together. Loving this model. It is, I wouldn't say an easy model. It took me several hours to put together, but it's not a complicated model. If you have any experience with these models, you should be able to do this just fine. I think the hard part is the cone piece right there, and or not the cone, but the windows on the front is probably the most challenging part of this whole thing. Loving this build, loving this model. It's not as big as I expected, but it is still a fair size. I'm gonna quit rambling on and get to work on finishing editing part 2 because I still got that to work on. But I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you for watching. Thank you to my Patreon supporters for continuing to support this channel, and as always, keep on keeping on.